This video contains content that may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. To the residents of 5th Ward, do not move. They have plans for 5th Ward, and yes, it does not include you. I'm really telling you people, do not move. I went to a meeting in 5th Ward over 20 years ago, and they were telling us how they were going to redevelop 5th Ward. And from the things they were saying, I knew that this was not for the residents of 5th Ward, but for people that were going to bring in. They said along the Clinton Drive, they were going to build a river walk from Lockwood Drive all the way to downtown, and all the little businesses were going to have there, and how they were going to put high rises up in 5th Ward. The first thing that comes to my mind is, okay, now high rise, how are the people in 5th Ward going to afford these $100,000 and $1 million houses? What are we going to do? So they said, oh, well, what this Bruce School is, we're going to tear down Bruce School. We're going to build some apartments. And I said, wait a minute. Where are the people going to go in between that time? Oh, we're going to relocate them to different apartments around. I said, wait a minute. If that's the case, won't they have to get on some type of waiting list to get back? She said, yes. So I said, well, then that means there's no guarantee that some of these residents will be coming back. She said, no. They were going to build a river walk, as I say, from Lockwood all the way to downtown. And I said to myself, you know what? Black people will be having to come back to 5th Ward to go to work, the places where they used to live. Well, after this meeting, I was outside talking to a few of the guys, and this lady, who at that time was the city councilman over District B, came to me and pinched me, which pissed me off. So I turned to the lady, what's up? Look, we don't have time for that in these meetings. We trying to get in and out, which I felt strange, especially coming from a black person, and she said she's from 5th Ward. I said, look, ma'am, I was up there because I want to get 5th Ward some things I think 5th Ward needs. And the lady replied to me and said, those niggas in 5th Ward don't want nothing. I said, ma'am, I am not talking about the ones who don't want nothing. I'm from 5th Ward. I want something. Well, the lady just got disgusted with me and just walked off. That's when I realized that these leaders, political leaders, city, whatever you want to call them, all of these people are not for us. The ones that they prop up, those are the ones that are selling us out. Go wide down Clinton Drive now and see how it looks. Go look at that Buffalo Bayou and see how they're redoing. You'll see what they're doing. And a lot of people that used to stay in 5th Ward, they have relocated them to Greenspoint, Haverstock, Humble. Some of them just moved to Katy. But I'm telling you, people, you are leaving prime land. You should not leave. You should fight to stay. Now here it is, Sylvester Turner, who, man, you are doing a terrible job, sir. I'm telling you right now, because I've talked to some residents from Acres Home, and they are dissatisfied with your leadership. But you have Sylvester Turner coming up saying that Southern Pacific should foot the bill to relocate people from 5th Ward. Instead of saying that Southern Pacific should clean up their act Now, when you ride through white neighborhoods, you hardly ever see train tracks. You hardly ever find a gas station. They are spread out. But in the black neighborhoods, gas station upon gas stations. Chemical plants, a lot of these chemical plants that you used to have in black neighborhoods throughout America, these companies don't come and clean up this stuff that they left behind. They just leave it. And you're talking about the children. What about the people that are already suffering from cancer? Not knowing exactly how they got it. I'm going to tell you why people just really hate to move. You know how difficult it is to relocate? The money and the time that it's going to take to relocate. Then you move around people that you don't know. At least where you're at, you do know these people. You know what to expect. But going to a new neighborhood, you know not what to expect. And these developers in Houston, what they are doing, they are going all out in these, on the outside of the loop, developing this land as nothing but wasteland, really. There's nothing but floods and storms that goes on in these areas. But they cleared it out and are putting apartments and high-rises there. But during the rainy seasons, you are going to suffer in these areas, and they know it. Unlike in Fifth Ward, you don't have these problems with flooding or with trying to get around because you have 610, I-10, 45, and 59, which is all right there for you to get to. But if you move outside of Fifth Ward, you know how difficult it is for you to get around? People don't realize is that in the city is where all your services are. Not outside the city. Now when you move outside the city, you got to try to find a way to get back into the city to get some help. Sylvester Turner should be ashamed of himself, but I know he's not. I know he's not. From the lifestyle that this man lives, he has no shame. Now, let me tell you this one thing. People try to threaten you and scare you. You cannot scare me. Because I've already lost my home in Fifth Ward. And I know that when I went up to that podium and said what I said, I knew I was going to receive some type of backlash. But some things just has to be said. Somebody has to say it. We are being sold out by all these black political leaders. None of them speaks for us. They speak for themselves. Now you have Sheila Jackson Lee, which, see, these political leaders, they will buy some property in these little neighborhoods, but they don't live there. They're just holding property there because in order to get these seats, you have to reside in these areas. You have to receive mail in these areas. So they will buy a little house or whatever somewhere just to receive some mail there to say, hey, look, this is where I live. When that's not where they live. And like I say, when that lady said that these niggas in Fifth Ward don't want nothing, well, she from Fifth Ward, I mean, she don't want nothing? Why do black people always have to get thrown in this one big barrel? Because you see one person not doing something, you want to say everybody's not doing anything or wants to do anything. And that is a damn lie. Black people need to quit falling for the okie doke. And Sylvester Turner is trying to hand you a wooden nickel. Now I know people have told you time and time again, don't accept no wooden nickels. Now the money that they were going to use to relocate, but why can't they use that same money to clean up? Or to relocate these train tracks. I mean, I see different areas around Houston where land that is not being used. Why come they don't use that? Why do they want to come where black people live and all of a sudden do all this construction? Black people, aren't you tired of being pushed around and moved around here to there? And let me tell you this, I'm quite sure this is not only just going on in Houston, because I'm on the net as well. And I see people all the time from different areas in In America, they say, hey, man, we've been gentrified. We've been moved out. And Sylvester Turner is using this fear tactic to get us to move out of Fifth Ward. Do not fall for it. As I say, why come they don't use money for other things? And then why are you just trying to scare people talking about the kids? You know, I had a relative of mine that got into an accident on one of these train tracks. So when the lady came out, she came and said, hey, look, we'll give you this money. Not because we're saying that we're guilty or not. We just want this to go away. And that's what they want black people in the Fifth Ward to do. Just go away. Don't say a thing, take it and just move. I said for years and years, is that in black neighborhoods, it looks so bad because we don't put any work into it. Black neighborhoods can look just as nice as white neighborhoods if you would put the work in. Now, since they've been moving black people out of Fifth Ward and redeveloping, certain parts of Fifth Ward looks nice. And my thing about these developers that are buying all the land and putting up all these high rises, why do white people got to make all the money? You mean to tell me there are no black people with enough money to buy up some land, to build these high rises for black people to stay in? Now, as I say, they're moving black people way out in between and sometimes past Beltway 8. But right now, in between the Beltway 8 and 610 is where they're planning to move us. And that, see, a lot of those places is an annex of Houston. It's not really Houston. It's an annex of Houston. But they can always unannex it. Now you won't have no fire service, ambulance, water, electricity, a lot of these services that you get from Houston that you won't get in these other places. You just be stuck. Tell Sylvester Turner, hey man, do not come out here with that jive. I think it was back in 2006 or 7. I saw a busload, literally, bus pulled up. A bunch of white folks got off and they walk around Fifth Ward. I said, what's up? Yes, we come out here to help people. We're going to fix their homes for free. I said, ma'am, nothing on this earth is free. There's always a hidden cost. I said, you know what you people are doing? You are land grabbing. They hurried up and got the hell away from me. And not only that, it wasn't too long after that before the constables come knocking to my door to put my ass out. There is a price to pay for being outspoken. And I knew the prices. Hey, black people have been poor all our life. So you talking about kicking me out or denying me this or that? I've been denied that already. There ain't nothing but a cakewalk, player. But for the rest of my people that are still in Fifth Ward, do not leave. The ones that got the money to stay, stay. The ones that got the money, you buy some property. And why? See, a lot of people in Fifth Ward, they got the wrong idea. You got some people in Fifth Ward that don't want nothing. But I'm not talking about the ones that don't. The ones that do, you got to step up. You have to step up. We cannot depend on the city or these political leaders to do anything for us. You know what to do. You've seen this time and time again. You have been taught. So you know what you have to do. And we have to just start taking the leadership role. We have to be the leaders. We have to quit letting people tell us what they're going to give us. I used to go to those meetings all the time in Fifth Ward. And they come out and say, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. I said, look, you never asked us what we want. You're telling us what you're going to give. You say, hey, what do y'all need? Fifth Ward, the people, the residents of Fifth Ward, we ask you today, exactly what can we do to help? You never ask that. You go behind closed door, you say, well, what can we give these niggers out here? Let's give them this. Let's give that bill a new park. But none of that is helping black people. It's only making you feel good at night. thinking that you did something for black people. You didn't do jack. And my thing about Sylvester Turner is that I feel as if he lost so many times that he's willing to do anything to be the mayor of Houston. And now that he's the mayor, he's doing their bidding. Now you say, if you try and charge up the railroad about relocating or paying some type of money because of their chemicals cause cancer in black people, hey man, a lot of black people have died with cancer. Asbestos. A lot of these companies are still making millions of dollars off of that work my forefathers did years ago for these companies. They're dead and gone, but the company is still alive. What about paying those people? What about paying me? We are tired of these chameleons. That's all these people are, chameleons. They look black, they sound black, but inside, he is a whole different color. And you are proving that to us right now. Because the problems for black people has not changed in Houston. Up under your leadership, it's getting worse. Because you are a poor leader, Sylvester Turner. Now, I know you hate to hear that, but hey man, some things you just got to hear. Because you are living in a fake world. I do what I do and I say what I say because at night, I want to sleep well. I don't want some bad feelings about what I should have did. I'm going to do it. And the things that you campaign on, you have done none of it. You have only did the will of your handlers. So we just need to tell Turner and Southern Pacific, hey, the money you talking about giving us to relocate, just give us that money and you relocate. And then they talking about black people relocating. Relocate where? You tell me right now what area of Houston is a good area for black people to live in. You name one. You know, I'm always an advocate for black people because of what we've been through in this country. But for people like Turner, all I can say is, man, I'd be glad to see you go.